Hello, my name is Krys Polygon, and something feels off today. Oh yeah, that's right, we are 3D now. Well, at least kind of. Alright, before we get into the technical part, let's find out what 2.5D is. 2.5D is 3D but with 2D drawings, which sounds like someone invented this whole thing yesterday, but it has been around for a while and was actually used in some pieces of media you may already know, like Paper Mario, which uses 2D characters which move around in a 3D environment. The difference to what I'm doing is that I'm using this to animate my character and not to make a game, and that I can't use a fire flower to light my enemies on fire. Or maybe I can. Now, I can already hear you screaming at me in the comments. Isn't that right, random person 14? I mean, according to you, 2.5D animation is just a cheap way of making 3D animations that doesn't require any skill and should just be called 3D animation. To which I say, you are technically correct, but nuh-uh. And do you know why? Because I'm the guy that has to draw every image for my character before I put him into 3D space and animate him. Which, well, isn't exactly the fastest process. But thanks to me already having drawn a bunch of character slides, I can just do this. You are totally safe in this house. But not for long, cause I'm outside your window. Better start running. Alright, you now know what 2.5D is. Or you don't, and I just did a really bad job at explaining what it is. But here's the big question. Where should you use it? Well, don't you worry. There are a few things you can do with it, and some of them have already been mentioned, like I mean, just look at some old and some newer 3D games that use 2D characters, like Doom, Parappa the Rapper, Danganronpa, and Balls. Okay, maybe not this one. This one's a bit sad to look at, but you get the point. Every game here uses 2D sprites or 2D objects in some way. Some in a more, and some in a less obvious way, which can look good, but sometimes it can also look like balls. Now, I don't have to tell you that using 2D drawings to animate something in 3D space can look really good. I mean, just look at Danicol Drawing's channel. That guy nailed character-based 2.5D animation.
Why, hello there!
Holy shit, this looks good. But yeah, 2.5D is really cool, so let's look at the technical aspects of it now. Alright, you saw some really cool 2.5D animation and want to try it yourself now. Well, that's perfect. Which program do you want to use? You don't know yet? Well, here are a few that you can use. Because it's free and can do everything you need. Because you want to be different apparently. Because you have enough money to use a prosumer program to make silly animations, and for this video, I'm gonna use Fusion because I have the most experience in that program, but you can just use Blender or any of the other programs I mentioned if you want to. Alright, let's get animating. Alright, welcome to the Fusion page. Here is the place where we turn our 2D image into a 3D object. But how do we do that? Well, first we build a small node tree, which is made out of these nodes. What do these guys do? Well, they make 3D possible, but we still haven't gotten our drawings into 3D space. So how do we do that? Well, it's really simple. We grab a 3D image plane node and connect it to the 3D merge node on the node tree. Now we have a white canvas in 3D space, which doesn't seem like much, but if you connect your character slide to it, this happens. Congratulations! Your 2D character is now in 3D space, but something's still missing. Alright, you have a model now, but no environment to place it in, so what can you do to change that? Well, get some 3D models, which you can either make yourself in Blender, or you can download some from Sketchfab. If you're using Sketchfab models, just check the license, cause for some of them you do need to credit the creator. And if you don't want to do any of that, well, just use a few primitives and build the environment yourself. Nice, you got your hands on a model and imported it into your program of choice, but it doesn't look like it looked before. That's because it doesn't have a texture yet. So let's change that and connect one. Good job. This is starting to look like something, but there's still one part left. Welcome to the part that is gonna take the longest. Well, maybe that's rendering actually, but you get the point. To make this animation, we need to place our model in the 3D environment we created, animate it, move it around and create a camera path. How do we do all of these things? Well, with a lot of keyframing. What do you need to keyframe? Well, let me just show you. Alright, now that we keyframed everything, let's just take a quick look into the graph page, where we can change a few things and make our keyframes feel less stiff, but that's really some more advanced stuff, and using the keyframes without adjusting them in the graph page is perfectly fine. Okay, now we are at the point where I can show you a small example of what's possible, so lean back and just enjoy this small clip I prepared.
3, 2, 1, go! Success!
Okay, that was at least a bit cool, but now I have to talk about the less good things. It takes ages to make an animation. Well, it takes ages to render it. Here's a small example. All of the 3D scenes in this video here took about 8 hours to render. This is definitely also kind of my fault for not, well, really knowing what I'm doing yet, but it's also because rendering shadows and lighting takes ages. So expect a video which uses a lot of 3D scenes to take a lot longer than a normal one to render. And here's the other problem. It's resource intensive. I mean, the render of this video here failed about 8 times or more and turned my laptop into a, well, plane. But yeah, that's about all the things that are a bit annoying with doing something in 3D, but they don't ruin the fun you're having when making it. Now, I could just talk about how you can render more efficiently, but I'm not gonna do that. Why, you might ask? Cause I don't know yet. But I can tell you that most of the normal animation rules like overshoot also apply when animating in 2.5D. But that's about all I can say, and with that I'm gonna end my yapping sesh and say goodbye.